It's election time in the United States. And once again, the air is filled with fear, venom, and other traditional campaign sentiments. Looking ahead, most people see more economic hardship, and so the governing party will pay on election day. So far, so normal. The new face in this election is the Tea Party movement. It sees itself as a grassroots awakening, rising up to take its country back. But take it back from whom? With mainstream media relishing every act of the new show in town, the question is rarely asked. Clearly, the target is Barack Obama. Dig a little deeper, and you find rage at elites who are out of touch with ordinary Americans. Democrat elites, of course. Spared are those Republican elites who are helping to fund the Tea Parties and their crusade against public spending. For this movement, government is the problem in all solutions.
America today begins to turn back to God.
On this edition of Fault Lines, we travel to the Tea Party stronghold of Nevada, where government has long been a dirty word, individualism is sacred, and the economy is in tatters.
You know, what people see when they look at Nevada, when they look at Las Vegas, is they see the neon, they see the glitz, and that is definitely part of our experience. The downside, though, is the real poverty that's right next door to the glitz and the glamour. Three years ago, we had 3.5% unemployment. So in the space of 3 years, we went from some of the best employment rates in the country to the worst.
Lance Rake is angry, and he's part of a citizens movement that wants to shake up the establishment. But he's no Tea Partier. He's the director of the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada. He's giving us a tour of what he calls the real Las Vegas.
You know, Las Vegas is all about facades. You have real wealth just a few blocks away and real poverty right here. And I think that this is indicative of the real problem. It's emblematic of the real problem, and that is that, you know, we just don't do the investment in the social infrastructure that we need here.
We follow Lance to a local job center where he and a group of volunteers are gathering signatures on a petition demanding that the federal government do more to create jobs.
Hey, can we get your support on something? We got a t-shirt for you too, if you need it.
Would you like to sign our petition?
Okay, you take care of that. Excuse me, ma'am. Hi, can we get your support on this petition? Thank you.
I can recite my job application in my sleeve.
You got it.
Okay,
We meet
good to
Phil
hear.
Leo,
How you doing?
a professional musician for almost 30 years. His wife Dawn has been an administrative assistant for 25. Now, they're both jobless for the first time in their lives.
And I'll tell you what, it's a lot more difficult the older you get. You know, we're not the young, pretty people anymore.
What are we going to do about the electric bill? What about
Tell
the
them
groceries?
about our house, darling.
What's going on with your house?
Well, we're in foreclosure.
Phil and Dawn bought their home at the peak of the housing bubble. Pressured by lenders to overstate their income, they got in over their heads. And now they're trapped in debts they have no hope of paying. Phil is making the most of his home studio. Well, he still has it. At the peak of his career, he worked 1,000 nights in a row as a band leader on the Las Vegas Strip.
There's no better feeling than when you're playing on stage, when you're doing something you know you love and you know you're good at. Man, You almost don't want to take the money, almost. I don't mind watching my friends play, but it makes me kind of jealous, kind of envious. And then I start feeling like, well, maybe it was a fluke that I was a professional musician all those years.
But we have done everything right, and so have a lot of other people out there. We have worked hard. We have done the American dream of purchasing a home. For a minute, then, I just realized, wow, it's not just me who's affected by this.
During the last real estate boom, Las Vegas was on a roll. In an economy built on the myth that the winning streak would go on forever, Vegas grew with abandon, almost doubling its population each decade.
It's a staggering thing to think about. And one of the ways to look at it is that if the population doubles, don't we need to double the number of schools, the amount of paved roads, the sewers, the power lines, all of those things? And it's very hard to say that to people.
Those public investments never kept up. And there's little chance of them now, with the city leading the nation in all the wrong ways. Highest foreclosure rate, highest bankruptcy rate, highest unemployment. More than 70% of Las Vegas homes are underwater. The term used to describe houses that are worth less than the mortgages people are paying to stay in them.
The system has collapsed.
Erin Neff was a political reporter for 15 years. Now she runs a progressive advocacy group.
This was a cheap housing market. People got houses here. That was the American dream. These houses are flooded. Those dreams are underwater. And you see it every day on the street. You see it at the unemployment office. You see it anywhere you go. I see people in nice neighborhoods in Las Vegas sleeping in their cars.
We've had to essentially cut the state budget in half. No other state in the country has taken a hit that large.
Right now, you're paying 43% if you pay taxes. Repeal healthcare!
Given its sudden fall, it's no surprise that there's a lot of anger here in Nevada.
6.5 years in their crook.
Combine that with its history of defiant independence, and you can see why this state has proven fertile ground for the Tea Party movement.
Now, media, try to get this right, okay?
The idea that we can be left alone, we can do it ourselves. This is a very Western notion in terms of how in the history of the American West, there's always been this individualist streak.
Nevada has no income tax and no tax on corporate profits. The state legislature only sits for 6 months every 2 years. This is a state with about as little government as you can find anywhere in America. But it's still too much for conservatives like Chuck Muth, former Republican operative and current Tea Party supporter.
My position has been in the past that the government needs to tighten its belt and do more with less. I think we've gotten to the point now with this recession and the severity of it that we need to finally really look at forcing the government to do less with less. There are just some things that we shouldn't be doing or can't be doing. We need to set priorities.
So are you, would you go as far as Grover Norquist in terms of the role of government in society?
Make it small enough to drown it in a bathtub? Yeah. Absolutely.
The budget director in Nevada has said recently that all social and state services, everything but education, would have to be cut in order to meet the budget gap.
Get going. I mean, I'm like, get going. Government doesn't do anything well except grow and expand.
Help me understand this. You've got no personal income tax in this state. You've got no corporate profit tax in this state. You've got some of the least government spending per capita anywhere in this country. And this is the place where you need less government?
Yes, this is supposed to be the beacon of light and hope. This is Las Vegas, baby.
This is the political terrain on which perhaps the highest stakes battle of the 2010 election is playing out, pitting Democrat Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid against his Tea Party anointed challenger, Sharron Angle. We attend a candidates forum on Sharron Angle's home turf at a local Christian high school. We're hoping to learn more about her and to see the passion of this big race close up.
So if you have a camera or something inside your purse, please return it to your vehicle.
People aren't allowed to bring signs into this event.
And there's no sign.
This has got to stay.
You're asking people to turn their T-shirts inside out.
And then we're asking people to turn their shirts inside out.
There's nothing about this campaign that's been normal.
Okay, clarify the cell phone. Not on, off, in the car.
This is being called a debate by the Angle campaign, but it's not face-to-face, it's face-to-video. Harry Reid was always scheduled to be in Washington tonight, so he taped his answers to the moderator's questions 3 weeks ago. So Sharron Angle will be on stage and Harry Reid will be on video screens, and the supporters will be pretending not to be supporting a candidate, and there's just nothing about this which is normal.
Did you hear what I said? Yes, ma'am, and I'm really... Get them off the chairs! Robin, I want those Angle shirts off the chairs.
And I'm really disappointed with the Angle people for doing this.
Hold it, hold it.
You hold it. Get out of here right now.
I'm Avi Lewis from Al Jazeera,
Hi,
English
Ciara
television.
Matthews.
Hi, Ciara, how are
Hi,
you?
nice to meet you.
What are the chances that we could get an interview with Sharron?
None.
Sorry?
None. Sharron is going to spend a half an hour on stage answering questions.
It doesn't have
today.
to be now.
Okay.
Like tomorrow?
Oh, not today. You don't want to talk.
Tomorrow?
Do you have a business card?
Of course.
Despite the organizers' efforts to contain any partisan enthusiasm, the event is anything but polite.
Mitch Fox and Sharron Angle.
With education alone, I helped bring about $500 million to the state.
We have the finest healthcare system in the world. There is nothing wrong with our healthcare system. Repeal of Obamacare.
God bless you, then.
The event does not end well. With such high stakes in this race, and so little actual contact between the candidates, the battle between Reid and Angle is largely being fought on television, with the heavy artillery of U.S. politics, the attack ad.
Time and again, Harry Reid has shown disdain for the people of this country.
Sharron Angle wants to wipe out Social Security.
Reid actually voted to use taxpayer dollars to pay for Viagra for convicted child molesters.
Thanks to the Supreme Court decision known as Citizens United, corporations can now spend unlimited amounts on advertising that directly supports candidates. This ruling has unleashed a torrent of campaign cash, most of it funneled through third-party groups that don't have to disclose where the money comes from. Here in Nevada, where TV time is cheap, some $20 million could be spent on commercials by Election Day. And across the country, this kind of funding is heavily favoring Republican candidates.
And I approve this message.
They're just pumping money into these elections, and they're supporting hard right, extreme right candidates from Delaware, Alaska, Nevada, all over the country.
It's being called the Shadow Republican Party, a powerful money machine that didn't exist 1 year ago. In the final days of this campaign, it's doubling down. American Crossroads and Crossroads GPS, co-founded by Karl Rove, plan to spend $70 million in this election. Americans for Prosperity, founded by oil billionaire David Koch.
This is a remarkable achievement.
More than $40 million. And the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the largest lobby group in the country, has pledged $75 million. Almost all of it to defeat Democrats.
We own them, and we should be supporting them.
And this is where it gets sticky for the Tea Party movement, whose star candidates like Sharron Angle are receiving millions in outside money. Can a citizens' uprising, a self-described revolt against politics as usual, be bankrolled by a who's who of the Republican and corporate elite? Sharron Angle, Tea Party darling, big money Republican candidate, and populist conservative. How does she reconcile it all?
I'm one of you. I want to know you. I want us to talk. I want you to feel very comfortable about walking up to me and saying, Sharron, this is what I think.
Not the message I've been getting from her campaign staff.
Avi Lewis from Al Jazeera. Nice to meet you. We've left you a couple messages.
Oh, really?
In fact, after the event, Sharron slips out the back. We catch up with her in the parking lot.
Hi, Sharron.
Hi, are you with her?
Private property.
Are you with her?
No,
she said she wanted to talk to everyone.
Yeah, I know you have to talk right out here. This is the receiving
Sharon, you said
area.
you wanted to speak to everyone tonight. We've been trying to talk to you for
You guys got to get off. You guys got to go. It's private property.
The heat of a campaign is clearly an inconvenient time to discuss political contradictions with a candidate.
Sharon, there's nothing to be afraid of. We just want to have a conversation.
Unfortunately for U.S. voters, this is also the time when it matters most.
But this issue is not about black and white. It is about wrong and right. It is not about political party. It is about democracy for the people.
Florida, on the eve of the U.S. midterm elections, and a rare echo of the sweeping emotions of 2008. As Obama's Democrats try to navigate the currents of 2010, the big question is whether Republicans will take control of Congress. But we've come to Florida to look at a battle with even bigger stakes. One that will transform the political landscape for the next decade. The power to make maps. Every 10 years in the United States, electoral maps are redrawn to reflect changes in population. In most states, this process is controlled by state legislators, meaning that the local politicians elected in these midterms will redraw the political map that will rule the United States for the next 10 years.
We are in a state where Democrats outnumber registered Republicans. However, the Republicans control both the House and the Senate. And if the Republicans can continue to draw the lines as they have drawn them in the past to favor their own political party or incumbents, then we never will get to a point where we come close to parity.
Florida is famous for gerrymandering, the dark art of fixing electoral boundaries. District 3, represented by Democrat Corrine Brown, is a perfect example. It was created in 1992 by Republicans who wanted to concentrate the African American vote in a single seat. The map tells the story. Beginning in the northern city of Jacksonville, the district sprawls over 9 different counties and dozens of towns over hundreds of kilometers. It stretches west to include parts of Gainesville, then winds south, packing in African American communities along the way. The district line slices through the city of Orlando, again keeping black neighborhoods in and white neighborhoods out. This elaborate process has a very clear effect. The African American majority guarantees this seat for the Democrats, while the surrounding districts go Republican. There's no question that a city like Orlando has distinct communities in different neighborhoods, like Eatonville, an historic African American town incorporated just after the end of slavery, which is right next to Winter Park, a wealthy enclave of lakeside homes that is predominantly white. But should electoral boundaries follow these racial fault lines? Edwin Enciso doesn't think so. He's the director of Democracia Ahora, an organization that supports political participation in the Hispanic community.
I don't want as many Latinos removed from their communities to create these super Hispanic districts because I want us to have an impact in our local races. We should have, along with our neighbors, the proportional representation in the election of our representatives that we deserve. That's democracy. That's part of being an American.
In this election campaign, a coalition has sprung up to try to change the rules. It's called the Fair Districts Campaign, and it has succeeded in steering 2 constitutional amendments onto the ballot.
So he come all the way across the bay.
If passed by 60% of Florida voters, Amendments 5 and 6 would impose standards for electoral districts. No more favoring one political party, and no more borders that slice and dice neighborhoods. While the right of minority communities to representation would still be protected.
The old way of doing politics in Florida is on its deathbed. And the only thing uncertain about it is how costly the status quo will make the funeral.
We've been working on it for 30 years. We worked on it when the Democrats were in power in this state, and we've worked on it with the Republicans. We got a staggering 1.7 million signatures on petitions.
Gary Siplin is a Florida state senator. He's one of only 2 prominent Democrats who oppose the Fair Districts initiative. The other is District 3 incumbent Corrine Brown.
The Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. approved the seat that was drawn for her to make sure that African Americans, in the first time in history of Florida, had 3 congressional seats. So if they had to draw it from Miami to Jacksonville, that black folks can get representation in Congress when we pay taxes, so be it.
Senator Siplin would like to draw himself a congressional district, and the Republican Party has placed him on the redistricting committee.
You're an incumbent. You're one of a handful of black legislators who's come out against these initiatives.
Yes.
Aren't you just covering your own butt? Just protecting your own incumbency?
I am covering the constituents who have gone to the polls 9 times in 8 years to elect Senator Gary Siplin. Pure and simple. There's nothing more, nothing less.
We've had unfair politics. It's been a cancer in our state. It has separated our voters from their elected officials, and we are so close now. If the voters speak and they turn out, which we believe they will and hope they will, we will have made a giant step forward in Florida politics.
Changing the rules of the game to favor the people. It's a powerful political narrative, one that Barack Obama rode to victory 2 years ago. This election, the populist narrative belongs to the Tea Party, successfully branded as an uprising that aims to tear down the political establishment. Meanwhile, in the back rooms, the map makers of both parties are poised to lock in the same old entrenched power for another 10 years.
Let's go.
Out of the swamp of Florida politics, the Fair Districts initiative has emerged with little fanfare.
We will take the road less traveled by.
But the campaign has big ambitions to change the game, not just the players.
And move until we've shaken the very structure of politics in this state.
If successful, it would be the more lasting citizens' revolt of the 2010 midterm elections.
And made that which is wrong right, and held those who are responsible accountable.
It may be the underdog as it takes on political elites. It is certainly no Tea Party.
This is our charge. This is our command. This is our call to action. Let's take what's broken, and we the people